These are the men terrorizing Iraq, causing chaos that's even drawing attention here in Washington.
We'll be monitoring the situation in Iraq very carefully over the next several days.
But who are they? They're the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS for short, a Sunni Islamic terror group formed last year after being expelled from al-Qaeda for being too radical, and considered by some to be the most dangerous jihadist group in the world. Their objective: to establish a radical Islamic State or Caliphate and to eliminate Shia Muslims and Christians in the process. Already, they're on a death march that started in Syria and now spans across Iraq, taking Tikrit, Fallujah, Ramadi, and now bearing down on Baghdad. Known for their ruthless, brutal, and violent tactics and an unrelenting willingness to kill anyone who disagrees with their Islamist ideology, it's no surprise that hundreds of thousands of Iraqis fled when ISIS took control of Mosul, Iraq's second largest city. Seen here, their chief executioner, known as the Desert Lion, quizzes Syrian truck drivers over their religious fidelity before brutally killing them after discovering they weren't Sunni. But the brutality may extend far beyond the Middle East. In 2009, their leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, reportedly promising American soldiers from Long Island that he'd see them in New York.
Well, it may be considered by many to be a nightmare scenario. Al-Qaeda-related group ISIS will now formally declaring the creation of an Islamic State and demanding allegiance from other Muslims all over the globe. The militants control a large swath of Iraq and Syria, as you can see, and now they are installing Sharia law. For more on this, KT McFarland, our Fox News security analyst, joins us now. You know, KT, they've declared a caliphate, which is an Islamic empire ruled by Sharia law, and that basically brings them back to the 7th century. That's been their goal.
You know something, try like, 500 BC is really what's going on. This is a fight that has been going on for 2,500 years. It's between Persia and the Persian Empire on one hand and the Babylonian Empire on the other. And that's who's fighting today. Now, today we call them Shiites and Sunnis, but it's the same fight. It's the same tribes that have been fighting for over 2,000 years. And I think we can expect the fighting to continue, regardless of whether they've declared themselves a caliphate and Islamic State.
Well, when you're facing this, can the government of Baghdad and can al-Maliki's forces defeat them?
No. And that's why it's a fight between the two groups. I mean, the Maliki government, the Baghdad government, they're really the sock puppet for Iran. They're doing whatever Iran's telling them to do. Their own military, the Iraqi military, folded like a cheap suit the minute they were confronted by some 4,000 al-Qaeda gang guys who showed up and basically scared the living daylights out of them. So you have on one hand the Iraqi government with Iran and Syria, and on the other hand you have al-Qaeda. And it's ISIS. In fact, al-Qaeda thought ISIS was too badly behaved. They were chopping off too many heads. They didn't even want to affiliate with them. But now they are really. It's al-Qaeda versus Iran.
Hey, man,
we don't belong in that fight.
And Iran, man, oh man, they are backing al-Maliki as strongly as they can.
Well, sure, because they don't want to lose the region. I mean, they see that what's happened is that al-Qaeda is establishing, as you point out, this caliphate, this Islamic State. They don't want that to happen. They want to be the top country. They want to be the hegemonic power in the region, so that's why they're fighting it out. And I think that's why it's foolish for us if we think we're going to somehow go in with a couple of hundred Americans and keep on one side and the other side people who've been fighting each other for thousands of years.
This has been a centuries battle and struggle. What about the new boss, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi? I mean, he's been a fiery leader. He is at odds, of course, with some members of al-Qaeda. He wants to change his name. Now they're saying that he is Caliph Ibrahim, and they're changing the name of their group from ISIS to basically just Islamic State. So is he the new head of what is going to be a growing Islamic State in the Middle East that we cannot do anything about?
Yes, and he's been considered by some to be another bin Laden. He's charismatic, he's very strategic in his planning, long-range goals, and he's ruthless. Now, add to that the fact that these guys are going to control oil. They're going to control a lot of resources. So however we may think of them now, they are only going to grow stronger. And I think as an American, we got to stop back and think, okay, what are our vital interests in the region? We're not going to affect this century-long, millennia-long fight. We need to realize we better get our energy from someplace else, like America, because those oil fields are going to be taken over or in the hands of either Iran or al-Qaeda, or they're going to be blown up. And we also better understand that that fight is coming to us, and so we should get serious about protecting our own homeland and securing our own border.
Wow.
Iraq's prime minister says the declaration of an Islamic State by rampaging extremists is a threat not just to his country, but the entire Middle East. And while the world continues to watch for the American response, someone else is already getting involved. National security correspondent Jennifer Griffin has the latest from here in Washington.
Russian warplanes have arrived in Baghdad to fill the vacuum after Iraqi leaders complained U.S. F-16s, not scheduled for delivery until the fall, were taking too long. Fighter jets that the Iraqis had already paid for. Iraqi pilots emerged from the Sukhoi fighter jets as rumors that Iran, too, was providing fighter planes made their way to the State Department.